مرکز مطالعات ایران در کانادا.
רבים חיכו לביקור החשוב הזה במשך שנים רבות. והנה השבוע, בימים שבין זיכרון לעצמאות, בזיכרון השואה לציון התקומה, הרגע
heading towards Israel's independence, and just after we commemorated Holocaust Memorial Day,
מקדם את חידוש היחסים בין העם האיראני.
we're hosting you here to renew the relationship between and advance the relationship between the Israeli and Iranian people. No matter how much the Ayatollah regime in Iran will try and prosecute the people of Iran, it will not be possible for that regime to stop and prevent the relationship between the Israeli people and the Iranian people. We've seen the Iranian spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs there who refused to comment on your visit here. This important visit that I'm privileged to host is the answer to those who want to destroy us. We were both present at the Holocaust Memorial Day ceremony at Yad Vashem. The Crown Prince has met survivors, heard stories, and listened to their voices, especially at this time when the Ayatollah regime states that it wants to destroy Israel. The Crown Prince comes here to show his identification with the Jewish people. This is a peaceful way and a respectful way. This is why the Iranian people is hungry for a government that will represent it. The Iranian people and the Iranian economy are under severe constraints and a corrupted regime that is rotten from its base, so rotten that we're seeing girls that are being poisoned with gas across Iran, a regime that is acting against its people rather than working to advance the society and deal with problems that are surfacing. It's a government that is in a regime that is violating human rights, and this is exactly what needs to stop. We should say thank you to the Crown Prince, who is the true protector of the Iranian people, the one who's fighting for the rights of the Iranian people and not those who now rule Iran. I hope, and we all hope, that a day will come in which we will return to be partners and friends of Iran. Until that revolution in 1979, Israel and Iran, under the leadership of his father, were very close. This is the first step in returning back in time to those times of friendship. As a woman, I identify with the hijab revolution in Iran. It's conquered my heart, it touched me. The Iranian women are brave, and we support their cause. They are crying out, women, freedom. The visit of the Crown Prince comes at a time of terror attacks in Israel here. Iran is the one who stands behind the terror attacks, and Iran's regime aims to distribute its message across the Middle East. The state of Israel fights terrorism
של איראן בסוריה.
and
תנו העליונה
fights Iran's attempts
להתחמש בנשק גרעיני.
to base itself in Syria.
להגן על ביטחון.
We will continue to defend Israel.
התמיכה והחיזוק שיורש העצר מעניק היום חשובים לחיזוק.
The support that we're getting from the Crown Prince today is important
והתמיכה שהוא זוכה לה במזרח התיכון וכאן בישראל.
in our objection to the Ayatollah regime in Iran. We've seen so many people that are crying and that are so enthusiastic to see the Crown Prince here in Israel, from a great will and desire to return to those nice times of friendship between Iran and Israel. I would like to thank him for his visit. We will continue to strengthen our relationship, and I believe that we will be able to
host you this week here in Israel, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, and in a variety of important symbolic and historical places for our people here in Israel. The entire nation of Israel appreciates your standing by our side. No matter how much the Ayatollah regime tries to oppress your people and isolate Iran, it is impossible to suppress the spirit, soul, and values of your people, the Iranian people, who have had warm and direct ties with the Jewish people throughout history and into the non-too-distant past. Thanks to your leadership, thanks to your brave, what you've done is a huge and exciting step. We get to rebuild the bridges between our nation and take the first step on the road to cooperation. Your leadership is a leadership of peace and tolerance, unlike the extremists who rule Iran today. Together, we will work for a better future for the next generation and to give them a hope that all of us need. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the international media. I am more than thrilled to have had this opportunity to travel to Israel for the first time. It's been decades since I've been thinking of when will be the opportunity, and it finally has arisen, and definitely at the most appropriate time. The reason I'm saying this is because, as the minister pointed, unfortunately the actions of a regime that does not represent the Iranian people and is only seeking its own interests has brought the situation to a point that a once proud nation has been faced with the designation as a terrorist nation or a terrorist mongering nation. Iranians, opposite to their current rulers, are the extreme opposite of it. And they are thrilled by the fact that I have had an opportunity, not just as of myself, but on their behalf, to spread the message of how, contrary to this regime, they have no antagonism to any nation or any faith, but quite the contrary. They see a vision where, and specific to Israel, the biblical relationship that Persians have had since the time of Cyrus the Great. From the time when I was at the Wailing Wall, the remnants of what Cyrus the Great contributed in rebuilding the temples is still there for all to see. It's a testimony of how valuable and how durable this relationship should be. And what we see today is the exception and not the norm. And I know that Iranians and Israelis see how important it will be for our future to be our strategic partners, to work together, to address many issues. So first and foremost, I've come here to convey this message to Israeli citizens And of course, throughout the years, I've had many opportunities to meet with members of the Iranian Jewish community as well as any other Jewish community around the world. And I must tell you that having been here in the last couple of days, the amount of affection and emotions demonstrated by the Iranian Israeli community, Jewish community, but also regular Israeli citizens has been overwhelmingly warm and welcoming, and it has affected myself and my wife very much. And it goes without saying that you can only get emotional about it. Anyway, but you see in me, it's not just me. It's millions of voiceless Iranians who feel the same emotions, being in captivity, being in repression. And when we look at how successful Israel has been as perhaps the unique democracy in our region, imagine if a different Iran, not ruled by a religious dictatorship, but a secular democratic Iran could mean for our region, for stability, and how it will impact the world positively, as opposed to all the negative impact that Iran under this regime has had since, from the nuclear threat to spread of Islamic radicalism, support for terrorism, and what have you. It goes without saying that we can all imagine how different the future could be when Iranians are finally liberated and can also enjoy the same freedoms and work together with those who have achieved it, and how important this alliance and partnership could be to bring about change. And I'm again here to explore how can we cooperate in helping the Iranian people in their campaign for freedom. The minister indicated the woman life liberty, which is today's anthem of the first modern day or all time, perhaps, women's revolution of its kind, and how critical this is in terms of recognizes that the first enemy to the Iranian women has been this regime who made them second-class citizens from the get-go. And how could a country not have the full participation of all of its citizens, particularly women, who before the revolution, we remember, had achieved great status. I remember when I was training in the U.S. Air Force, and before that I was, of course, a pilot in Iran. I was looking forward to the prospect of returning to my country in the early 80s to see our first female pilots in the Iranian Air Force. Where are they now? And where they could be again. And again, these are all the potentials we face. I also have very dear to my heart the issue of how critical the challenge of the water crisis we face in my country and environmental issues has been. The degree of mismanagement and irresponsibility of this regime has created massive problems as far as it affects our ecosystem, our environment, but most importantly, the water issues. And part of my trip here is focused on meeting with what I consider the top experts in the field, who happen to be Israeli experts, and to be able to work together with them and their counterparts, Iranian experts at home and abroad, as well as any other expert, because this is a true challenge. And this could be a factor of further destabilization, perhaps even further migration to an already saturated Europe that cannot afford to have more migrants come. This is a serious regional stability issues, even away from politics. And to me, that's a very key issue. So I'm happy to also have the opportunity to meet with such experts, as a matter of fact, right after our session here today. And I think this will be a very, very important element that will give the Iranian people a sense that there are so many ways that our work together with our Israeli counterpart could be impactful in a positive way to whatever we need to address in Iran's future. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I just wanted to show my greatest appreciation for your invitation, for this first opportunity, and to be able to be a voice for my compatriots, to convey the same message I have done in so many countries throughout the years, but for the first time directly here in